Yo! Hello. Turn that music down just a bit. Let me know if you can't hear it. Yo! Hello! Hello, you guys. I don't really know how to start this off, honestly. I'm gonna turn that music down just a little bit on my end because it's quite loud. So, let me know if you guys can't hear that. I am joined by Kane today.
Heyo.
Heyo.
I would wait for the cameraman to focus.
I mean, you could pop in like right here. Nah. There's the hand. Okay. I don't know how to do this because I don't really do a lot of like talking streams. And I don't want to like start getting into something and then have people join and be like, what's going on?
You just talk about your day first. I don't know.
Yeah. How are your guys' days going? I'm having a great day. Yo! Hello, Beef Wants Bits. Welcome to the chat. No, we're not gonna show Kane. Kane is a faceless person, but they're over here.
Yeah.
They're over right here next to me.
Maybe reach.
There's the fingers. If you come over, it might be easier because the camera's right here.
I'm gonna try to see if Nugget's gonna come back, but I don't know for sure.
No, she's not gonna.
Because he's right there.
No, Kane's faceless, so they're not gonna show their face, but you can see my face.
You can hear my horrible voice.
I've been having a great day though. I've gotten lots done. I just got back from traveling, so we went to TwitchCon, y'all. That was interesting, and that's kind of what this whole stream's gonna be about. But
Yep.
we just got home yesterday, so we've been super busy just grabbing food and all that. But
Trying to see how the cats would react.
and Kane got to meet my cats. This is my first time. This is Kane's first time at my house, so that was really fun. But yeah, I guess just kind of jump into TwitchCon stuff. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I'll answer them.
To our best knowledge, we're only there for one day too.
Yeah.
And most stuff we've heard is from other experiences.
Well, do you want to talk about the stuff we heard and then talk about the stuff that we experienced? Because I don't really know how to do this. Because we could talk.
Because we can do our experience and then segue into the other people we've heard of. Because we have very limited stuff we've seen. Though, as always, my first thing is always the fucking. Also, sorry for swearing. It's just who I am.
No, I swear. You're allowed to swear on my channel.
Yeah, the one thing that's always stuck in my mind is, "Show me your secret." This is a quote from a lady because they had this weird Clear app thing for the COVID test because, well, I mean, COVID spiked up a bit in San Diego, at least to my knowledge, or at least in California, because Californians are stupid. I can say this because, gosh, but yeah, they had this weird Clear app. Didn't really work for artists. Both of us were stressing out the night of, but mine worked like perfectly for some reason. Artists was having so much trouble, and it didn't even matter because we got there. The lady was like, "Show me your secrets." And I'm like, "You mean my phone?" She's like, "Yeah, those secrets, yeah, yeah, okay. Here's your band." I'm like, "You didn't scan, okay." So I left. Then I told artist, and I was like, "Wait, what? Really?" And the artist went. And they came out immediately fast, and no one was really checking if they had a scanner. I didn't know. There's a train, but that was already off to a bad start. It wasn't even a big booth. There was no big lines. It was just a canopy tent in front of a hotel with like 6 or 7 chairs and one person each table.
Yeah. So while Kane was talking about that, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm making a TikTok real quick so that people on TikTok know that I'm live and we're doing this. Because I forgot to do that before
Now we have
started.
TikTok again for you.
Yeah! Also, so completely unrelated to TwitchCon, but also happened the day we went to TwitchCon, my TikTok account was just like, "Hey, yo, you're gonna be temporarily banned, and we're not gonna explain why, we're not gonna let you see why, you're just temporarily banned, even though you've never had a violation." I was like, okay, what the fuck? When I tried to repeal it, I got permanently banned. They never responded to me, but they took it back and said, "Oops, sorry, you didn't have any violations." Yeah, no shit. So I spelled the wrong word.
Yeah, that was a stressful end that day. Because that day, Also, for slight context, we didn't get a hotel room at San Diego because I kind of live I say relatively close. I live nowhere near San Diego, but we knew someone who, or I knew someone who could just drive us there fast because they knew the path there. So I woke up every other hour because I was so stressed. I was stupidly stressed for this. After post con experience, I shouldn't have been that stressed. Woke up at 2, woke up at 3, woke up at 4, stayed up at 4, drove out there, barely made it there before 9 because at 9 was supposedly the meet and greet. But no, fun fact: the main con event didn't open until 9. It said it would open at 8. Didn't open until 9.
Yeah. F in the chat. Yep.
Because there's a lot of people who had apparently been queuing up like since 4 for that line.
Before we get too into depth that, I actually want to loop back to the Clear app because you were talking about that while I was trying to post. I don't know if you guys have experience with the Clear app, but the Clear app is this app that a lot of airports are using right now and have been using since COVID stuff going on.
Fucking money for that,
a lot of big events have been using it too, and it's a free app that you download, and basically you upload your ID, you upload your vaccination records and your test records, all that. And then what these organizations can do is they just scan your QR code and they can see all your information and confirm you don't have COVID, all that stuff. TwitchCon for days leading up to the event was sending out emails going like, daily. We're gonna have really strict guidelines. You need to have your tests to prove that you don't have COVID. You need to have your vaccination records. You need to have your ID. You will be wearing a mask during this event.
Mandatory masks.
All this stuff for this event. And it was like very much like every single day. At least Kane was getting email. I didn't check my emails, so I don't know how many I got. I haven't have to look. But Kane was getting them almost every single day.
For me, and that didn't help my anxiety at all.
And they were like, okay, we're gonna have a testing facility or something to do with like your COVID test.
Because it's like mandatory. It was either proof of vaccination or within 72 hours of the event a negative test.
Yeah. So they put out an email that said, hey, we're gonna have this area set up that from our understanding, it was for testing, like how they do outside of the airports or other events. And so that's what we assumed. And we thought it was going to be kind of this, like legit operation. We drove around almost in circles trying to find it. And then we realized that it was just this little itty bitty like party. What is it called? Canopy? Yeah, like one of the ones you would see people rent for their birthday parties.
I just checked. I got 8 notifications like every single day.
There you go. But it was like one of those canopies you'd rent for a party, and underneath it were these like little desks with people at each desk, like just down the side. And you came up, there was a security person. You came up, you went around, there was a gal directing you where you need to go, and there was a bunch of different people at the tables. And what you did is you had your ID, you had your app, you showed them their app, and then they'd scan it to prove that you don't have COVID and that you are vaccinated. There was a dude in front of me, no mask, did not have the app, did not have his vaccination records. I don't even know if he had his ID. I wasn't paying attention all that much, but I distinctly remember him going up and saying, hey, I don't have my vaccination card or the app.
And he's given the wristband.
He was given the wristband, and they let him go through. He wasn't wearing a mask. So the Clear app has a history of being about 50-50 whether it works or not. Kane got lucky, and Kane was the 50% that the app worked perfectly, did exactly what it was supposed to. I was the 50% that did not.
I even tried to help with like everything I could.
We spent like 2 days trying to get the app to work, and I emailed help. I created a whole nother account. I deleted it. I tried everything, and it still wouldn't work. And after I finally got Clear staff to help me, it wouldn't let me in. It wouldn't let me log in. So I don't know what they did. So I go up and I'm like, hey, here's my proof of vaccination. Here's my proof that I don't have COVID. Here's like my test proof and everything. Here's my ID. I don't have the app. I can't show you the app. And they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. Did not even look. He didn't look at my ID. I had my records on my phone so you could see everything because of just like where I went to get my vaccination. They gave you like an online record of it. And so like I was showing that and he just like glanced at my phone. Like the dude was cool. Like the dude was super nice to me. But I just remember being like, I just stressed out for 2 days because this was supposed to be really strict. And if you don't have the specific app and you don't have everything in place, they said they weren't going to let you in. And I just got let through really easy. And the dude in front of me just got let through. He's not wearing a mask and he didn't even show his vaccination record. He just says he has it. Okay then. So we got into the line.
Oh god, the line then.
And we got up to the front, and again, as Kane was saying before, the start time was not what they advertised. Like we didn't, nothing, just as an overview, nothing happened really as it was advertised, if it was advertised. So
because some of the meet and greets weren't even announced until the week of the event. I was checking daily.
Some were announced until the day of. So we get in line and we get up to the front where they're supposed to check your security, check the things in your bags, all that. There's like metal detectors. And the dude's just like, go, go, go. If it doesn't go off, keep moving. Go, go, go. They weren't checking people's bags from what I could see. I don't know if they did that later on in the con. But when we were there, they were not checking. They were just getting people as fast as you could. If the metal detector didn't go off, you didn't stop. It didn't matter how big your bag was, didn't matter what you were wearing, you just kept going.
Yeah, the only time I saw someone stopped, like, not because of the metal detectors, because he wasn't wearing a mask, and then they didn't even provide masks. Yeah, they're like, go to your car, get it. And he's like, I took an Uber here.
So that's the funny thing, is they got stopped there and sent back if they didn't have masks on. But as soon as you entered it, there was people taking their masks off and nobody was making them put them back on. And I remember thinking like, okay, I mean, granted that's gonna happen and you can't really hold staff accountable for that because there's so many people there. Like, I get that. But we go through and they have like the line set up and like, I'm gonna be honest, we went the first day. And we only really had time to actually stay for the first day. There was a couple other events that we were going to.
We'll get to those.
So, from what I understand, from people that we met who went all 3 days, and from other stories that we're seeing, the first day was probably the best day for most of the security stuff. And we noticed a lot of issues with the security stuff while we were there.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, getting your badges and all that wasn't all that difficult. It was actually really easy. Later on, I noticed people who went on Twitter who were there, who I saw and I knew were there. They talked about how when they went and picked up their badges, that the staff wasn't checking IDs, wasn't checking who you were. You could just say a name and they print you off that pass. I didn't see that. When I went up, they did check my ID. I showed them my channel. Like, they had me check everything to prove that I was who I said I was. So I don't know about later in the day or after we went through. I just know that when I went through, they did check. But I have had confirmed stories afterwards that they didn't check, which is kind of scary. So yeah, we got through. And pretty much once you got through that first bit of security, there wasn't much security after that. Like there was lines, and I'm not entirely sure how you were supposed to go, but from my understanding of it, because none of it was marked, there was no staff. There was a staff member who was like, yeah, you go that way or you go that way.
I almost went into
Didn't explain it while I was waiting for Kane. So I'm affiliate. I stream. I went to a different line than Kane. Kane doesn't stream. They are a community member.
I was going to, but after this event,
I had to wait because my line was shorter. I had to wait for him, and there was a staff member who was kind of directing people, but that was the only staff member I saw besides the ones that were handing out things in a certain line. I'm pretty sure that I took Kane into the affiliate line and got him affiliate freebies. I'm not positive because I have no idea because none of it was marked, but I just noticed there was a line that mostly community members were being shown to, that they were not giving out stuff, and then there was a line that partners and affiliates were being shown to that they were, and I was like, okay.
You just dragged me along. And
I just came along and they didn't check. So
I was already
maybe it was
tired.
fine. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. There was like no organization. There was no
There was a guy who was vaping in there still.
Yeah, there was people vaping in line.
Because he was vaping in line, but after you got separated from it, he was still vaping until he put it away. I'm just like, my mask.
So then they started telling people you need to pack in as tightly as you can.
Never a good sign.
And I didn't really think about it at the time. Because I've only been to one con. And I just thought like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like we have these big open sectioned off areas. They want us to move as far forward as we can so that more people can come in because there's still lots of people coming. But they weren't moving.
And that's why I was concerned.
I thought that we would start moving and then we didn't. And so then we were standing in these really compacted lines and we were towards the back. So we were towards the back in a lot of these weird situations. Yeah. So like we were okay. Like I was like, oh, okay, let's move over here so more people can file in behind us because there was like big open spaces in between different groups.
From I've only been to their cons. I know from like vaguely at least one of them, we weren't supposed to pack in like that. Mostly because some people do pickpocket. Other people if they're wearing custom made cosplays, it does sometimes snag on people's outfits. Mm-hmm. It can cause issues. And also in the case of if everyone needs to quickly evacuate, you get trampled, or people with disabilities can be ushered forward if they need be.
And so from my understanding, I didn't think that we were actually packing in. I was under the assumption that when they say packing in, they meant just kind of get in so there's not big open areas. But later, after seeing the rest of the con, I think they genuinely meant pack in as tight as you can, and that's fun, right? That is really fun. Sorry, answering an important text real quick. We're a little all over the place.
We're trying to focus and keep calm. Otherwise, we'd be yelling. The cats would be all mad at us, and we don't want.
So, yeah, that happened, and it just, I don't know. We were waiting there for a while, and then finally they, opened the gate, and people started flooding in, and it just, it was a lot. I don't know. I was excited because I didn't realize how disorganized it was at that time. And again, I've only been to one other con.
Yeah, that was pretty shit. Even though the other two cons I've been to have been, actually no, I've been to 3 cons, but even then those have been even before COVID. That was pretty shit of organization. That looked like if it was an elementary school level grade of come on kids, into the auditorium now, it's raining, come on.
Yeah, so we went in, we almost got separated from the crowd a couple of times, and there was just a lot of people, and so we knew we wanted to go to the meet and greet panels first. I really wanted to see the Artist Alley. Kane really wanted to go to the meet and greets. I was okay if we didn't go to them, but it was something that we still wanted to do.
We didn't even realize they were we didn't even realize they were on the same floor or where to go until I managed to barely hear the lady say, meet and greets upstairs, escalators, and I dragged you with me.
You didn't though. I wasn't with you at that point. I don't know if you realized that, but no, so Kane heard this random staff lady calling for the meet and greets and showing people the way, but she wasn't there wasn't a sign or anything. The reason she was yelling that out is because people were going up and asking, and then she started yelling it out.
And some people started running
upstairs. Trying to find a staff member, and hi, yes I did.
Awesome.
We're talking. Thank you so much for the follow. You're awesome. We're talking about TwitchCon right now. We're actually talking about the first day because that's when we went. But yeah, no, I was trying to keep track of Kane. And Kane was trying to look, and I was trying to look, and that just fell down again. We'll deal with that in a second. And so I could hear the lady talking and yelling, but I had no idea what she was saying, because there were so many people going by. And then I got separated from Kane again. And I started freaking out, because, I couldn't see Kane within the crowd of people.
Even with my hoodie.
And then I saw their hoodie, which... I don't know, you guys won't be able to see it.
I have the bright neon dream green hoodie. if anyone needs reference.
You gotta come closer. They can't see it.
Well, let me take it off. So if I get up, I'm not gonna see it.
Do you see my big streamer? No, I really didn't. Like, we got to do the meet and greets, but it was so disorganized.
Scott, at least.
Yeah. So, anyways,
he's so sweet. Scott is so sweet. That's all
Kane's working on pulling off their swords so they can show you. They're a faceless streamer. That's why they're off to the side, which is bright green hoodie. I finally spot the bright green hoodie, and they go, "All right, it's this way. We're going this way." I'm like, "Okay."
And
so we followed them, and there was still no direction at all. We were just following the stream of people. And so we go up the escalators. Yeah, people were running. People were going as fast as they could. It was a mess. We go up the escalators, and we get in line.
It's already fucking packed.
It was packed. Like, there was already a decent line. And they were already past, like, overfill for the meet and greet lines. And so we get in line.
Also, for context, meet and greet is the same area as Artist Alley, but also because they had XQC, whatever Tyler won, some other streamer who didn't even have a nameplate, AMZ, CPK, Ranboo, and the Banter Trio, Carl, Sapnap, and George, and also Scott. Yeah. So it was big names for, like, some community members, which is like,
yeah,
that was already off to a bad start.
All I know about TwitchCon this year, someone broke part of their back in the back. Yes,
will get to that
because I nearly did that, and I'm so glad I didn't. So yeah. Anyways, we get into line for the meet and greets, and when we got in line, there was 2 separate lines going through the doors, and they were only allowing people to line up in these lines. You couldn't even go to the artist alley. Like, there was a big wall of doors. You could not go through any of those to even just go to the artist alley. You had to be in these 2 lines that were for the meet and greet. And then, like, when we got there, we were standing there for a while as the line was slowly moving, and the staff member goes, "You can't go through here. We're closing this door. There's too many people. The overfill's already filled."
We had to sneak through the other, because
No, we didn't sneak. It wasn't our line that was shut off. It was the line next to us. So that line starts to merge with ours. So I grabbed Kane, and I just kept going because there was a couple people in front of us and stuff, and I just kind of wedged us in between them.
Very nice people, though. Very nice people.
They were lovely people. They were so nice. And they were doing the same things as us because we were trying to get through the first set of doors before the other group merged, because what staff was doing was they were crushing them into the line and crushing the line together.
There was
and so like I was like, we've been waiting here for so long. I'm not gonna have people cut in front of us.
They were pushing, like, there's to my vague memory, there was a girl with a baby stroller, and there was a wheelchair person being funneled, like, next to each other. That was not gonna end well.
And so if you've heard anything about the treatment of disabled attendees or anything, this is probably where a lot of it happened, was these meet and greet lines, because I saw so many people it was super unprofessional, but there were so many people, like members of the community, who were literally pushing disabled people out of this line and other things. And, like, there wasn't people near us. There wasn't anything we could do, but you could see it in front of you. You could see it behind you. You could see people coming over, and it was just like, what the fuck? So anyways, we finally get in. We're funneled into, like, a smaller area, kind of like a smaller little roped off area, and Ranboo's line is just packed.
I was gonna go to Ranboo's line, but it's right next to Scott's.
The thing is Ranboo's line was not the first line in this meet and greet. He was like 3 or 4 lines down, so you couldn't get into any of the first 3 streamers without going through his line first. And then everybody after him, like Scott, and I think there was, like, another dude after him. I'm blanking on the name, sorry.
He didn't even have his nameplate
up. Oh, yeah, he didn't even have the name. Would they just toss people in wheelchairs in the ball pit? No, I don't think they let people who were disabled do that.
They weren't allowed in the foam pit.
But anyways, with these meet and greet lines, you had Ranboo's lines, and then, like, at least 2 other people behind him, 2 other people, like, 3 people before him.
I vaguely remember the order.
The way they had set it up is you could not get into any of the lines unless you went through Ranboo's. Because Ranboo's was so big, a lot of people wanted to meet him. They didn't organize that very well. Also, AMZ's was pretty big too. AMZ and Ranboo was huge.
The Banter Trio, because the
Banter Trio was starting to fill up.
All 3 of them were grouped together, which is never a good thing.
Yeah,
I get it because it's the trio, their group. Yeah, but still, for that.
But, like, as we got there, AMZ and the Banter Trio, their groups were filling up. But Ramboos was just not moving, and you couldn't get to anybody really. So Kane was gonna go try to join the Rambo group, because from what the staff was telling us was that you just needed to keep moving through the line, and then they would just group you off into others. And I was like, yeah, no, fuck that. I want to go see Scott.
Can I say how it went?
And so I just ducked under the line and started going, and the staff was like, hey, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm going this way. I'm not joining that big line. And they're like, yeah, go ahead.
Can I say what happened with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I see this, and I'm going, fuck that, I'm going to full artist. And they're like, where are you going? Oh, I'm with them. So I duck and I decide to go to Rambo's line, because from when I got there, it was at least like 1 or 2 people could squeeze still through. Like, it wasn't like fully compact yet. And I'm like, okay, can I go here? And the staff member's like, no, like pushing me almost. You gotta go back there behind the carpet.
To be fair, you were kind of cutting line.
I know, but let's be real, we couldn't really do anything else.
Yeah, but anyways, Kane came over and joined me.
He was either, he was like, you gotta go to the carpet behind there's a lines back there for the overfill. I'm like, I'd rather just see Scott. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go see Scott and this guy then. He's like, yeah, sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, so then staff started letting people duck under the roped off areas so that you could go to the other streamers that were around Rambo and AZ and
I almost ran into a guy doing that.
And so people started just pouring out of the line and doing that. But it worked out really nice. We had a great time with our with the meet and greet. We got to talk to Scott. We got to go. I
almost yelled at Phil.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
We're getting yeah. Please stop jumping around. It's so hard to stay on topic when you jump around. So yeah, we had a great experience. I do know though that, oh my god, staff was so fucking rude to every single disabled attendee that I saw. There was a bunch in Rambo's line, and while we were sitting in our line waiting, we saw these people being like pushed out of the line, and like 3 or 4 of them, 2 of them were in wheelchairs, 1 wasn't. They got to go in this little offset line that was specifically set up for disabled attendees. But I know that through Twitter and like confirmed stories that I saw, and just the rudeness that I saw while I was there, at least 1, maybe 2 people were disabled in Rambo's line and could not get to the area that was specifically designated for them. And when they tried to leave the line because they had a flare-up or other things and then come back, their friends had not left the line, it was just them. They left and came back because they needed to get away from the crush of people. Staff refused to let them back in, staff refused to let them go on the disability side. It was awful. So we did our meet and greet. We debated for a bit going back and trying to meet and greet with somebody else, but we just decided like that was a mess. We didn't want to do it. We went over to the artist panel.
Artist Alley,
excuse me, thank you. That was great. There were so many lovely artists there. It was just amazing. I love seeing all the art. I got a new keyboard, which I realized I don't have the cord to set up, so I need to get that before I can set it up. And just, it was absolutely lovely. There was a lot of things. It was not set up well though.
No map grade, no signs, no anything.
So it was like your typical artist alley, but all of the booths were so close together, there was almost no room to go back and forth between the panels. Like, you could, but it was so crowded. And like, we saw Phil and Mumza there as well. I nearly walked into Phil's back because I didn't realize it was him.
And
that was fun. I wish I had a nickel for the amount of streamers that I nearly walked into while I was there, because there were so many times where I literally like nearly walked into a person and was like, oh, you're a big streamer, oh, okay. anyways they were walking through Artist Alley. They were enjoying the con themselves, but there were people crowding around them, which is totally normal. That happens. Not really the best etiquette, but it happens. But the spaces, the way Artist Alley, there was like this big area that Artist Alley could be, and they like condensed it. And so as soon as like 2 or 3 people started talking to Phil and Mumza, the crowd just kept growing, and suddenly you couldn't get past them without like full on just like, okay, coming through, pushing people out of the way, which is how I almost ran into Phil. But it was still like, it wasn't bad. I was like, okay, that's typical con stuff. Like that, I remember that from my first con. Like, not the best organization, but oh well. And so then we decided to go find where the Dream SMP panel was because Kane really wanted to go to it, and I thought it'd be really cool to go to it.
Really need to sit down because it was starting.
Yes, and we were also looking for a place to to sit down, and so we found an area. There was a whole bunch of people. Apparently, people had been waiting there for like since the con had opened because they really wanted to go to this panel, and so like where the auditorium was that we were going to was like down this little hallway, and so you had people kind of lined up against the windows just eating, sitting down, and then there was kind of like a sitting area.
They didn't even have a sign to say where the
There was no sign. It took us forever to find this. Like we ran around circles. We had one very helpful staff member who was so sweet and so nice who helped us find where this was. The only person I respect. But we got up there, we found a place to sit. I was like, hey, we still have like an hour or two before this thing goes. I really want to go walk around downstairs. I want to go look at some of the different sponsorships and things like that. I want to go do some of the stuff downstairs. If you want to come with me, you can, or if you want to just sit and wait here, go ahead. And Kaden chose to sit and wait there because their legs were hurting.
I physically couldn't keep up with you and just walking. But also because I low-key wanted to see what was going to happen. Because there was another panel that happened in that room, and we'll get to that mess when you come back.
So I went downstairs, and I nearly went into the foam pit, and I'm very glad that I didn't. So, something I don't talk about a ton on my channel, I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but I don't talk about it a ton. I have back issues. I have scoliosis, and I have a couple other things. So I have, like, back issues with my hip and my knee. I'm so glad I didn't go into the foam pit, especially after hearing the people who were injured in the foam pit. So the foam pit was this really cool looking big like square pit of foam blocks, and it had these two little platforms raised up that you could fight on. And the foam pit itself was about a foot deep, give or take. That's not deep enough if you've ever been to a foam pit of any kind. That's not deep enough for one. But it could have been okay if everything was hooked up correctly. It was not. I later learned that the padding that was supposed to go underneath the pit, you know, because the floor is fucking concrete, and no matter how much foam you put on top of concrete, that shit's gonna hurt if you fall onto it. They didn't properly secure said pad, so you have a pit that is very shallow, no protection from the concrete. Yeah. No, seriously, if that gal had decided to do a flip into it, literally anything. When I went down there, it was open to, like, the public. Like, people, you could go do whatever you wanted there. They were still doing kind of this, like, come line up and you can fight each other. And it was really cool looking, and I was like, I love that shit. I really want to do that. But I didn't have time. I had to get back to Kate, so I decided not to do it. I'm so glad, because I probably would have injured myself, and Kane would have had no way to know that I was injured if I had done that. So I'm very glad I didn't. But what happened with that gal, it's literally concrete. The floor is straight concrete. And so what happened with that gal, the streamer, she was doing an event. From what I understand is she won the event, and she like threw herself back or jumped back, something. She did like a victory thing essentially. And what happened was when she landed on the part where the pad was not properly secured. So she landed on straight concrete and broke 2 spots in her back because she literally did like a back flop.
She like a victory whoop, but she landed and then
yes. And from what I understand, there was another gal, or I actually don't know their pronouns. So if you guys know their pronouns, please correct me. I don't know their pronouns. But there was another person, I believe they used she, her, but I could be wrong, who was in the pit. I think they were in the pit kind of around the time that I was doing it, or the second day, I'm not sure. They jumped in, their leg got caught, and they dislocated their knee.
Oh, well, the first day.
Was that the first day? Okay, so yeah, that was probably around the time where I was walking around and thinking like, oh, hey, I should do that. So, yeah, really glad I didn't do that. So I went back and joined Kane, and we sat there for another hour or so. Like, it was a long ass time that we sat there, but we just hung out, we ate, we took a break. I kind of rearranged our bags from everything we had bought from the artist alley and stuff that I had gotten from downstairs.
They also didn't have the food labeled well.
There was this one lady who was staff who kept coming down our hallway and yelling at the people who were starting to congregate there because, you know, it was getting close to the time of the panel. People were starting to line up or just sit down with everybody else who had been there all day. And this lady goes, "You can't sit there, you can't line up, you need to go sit over there. If you're here for the Dream SP panel, we have a different panel, you need to clear the hallway."
If you think you're in a line, you're not in a line. If you're here for the Dream panel, it's at 1:30. You don't have to start lining up till 1. This is for a different panel, different line. They didn't even have, like, signs.
So, like, I understand that. It was a small hallway. There was a shit ton of people. So I understand staff coming out. But there was, like, nowhere for you to line up. And it was just this one lady coming back and forth to yell at people for this. And she didn't do it very often. So, like, it was on...
No, she did it often.
Oh, she did? Okay, by the time I got there, I only saw her, like, a handful of times.
When I was there, she did it at least 5 times. And that's why I memorized her lines. If you're not there, if you think you're in a line, you're not in a line. Stand against the wall and wait your turn for the panel. Which did not work out when everyone started joining.
Yeah, So there was that. There was a couple of times where it looked like people were lining up, but then it was for the different thing. Basically, the event before the Dream SMP panel was this, like, how to grow your TikTok panel. You had different TikTokers and other things talking on this panel, so there was a lot of people going in for that. Not, like, a huge amount. It was kind of small, and I remember, like, looking at it and thinking, like, how big is this auditorium? Like, were they expecting more people for this one? Or maybe it was just the only space that they had at this time. It was like a really small amount of people, and I thought it was kind of odd. So I was kind of like, okay. There's a couple of times where there was, like, people started to line up, and then they got yelled at, and then they didn't. And finally it came time where it was, like, just before 1, people were actually starting to line up. We went and joined the line. We weren't at the back of the line by any means, but we were just
at the quote-unquote end of the hallway.
Honestly, I think you could have considered us at the beginning or middle of the line, but where we were was about at the end of the hallway where there was a lot more room. So we didn't get as crushed as a lot of people did. But I remember, like, we got in line, people started lining up, then staff came out, and the line started moving really fast, and there was almost a stampede, and it just, filled this hallway. We were still at, like, the mouth of the hallway, because, like, where we joined the line, we were still in this big open area, but you could just see people crushing in.
There was a one line, sort of.
And so then staff starts yelling, "Crush in!
Go! Pack in!
And we got caught right at the edge of the hallway, so, like, we weren't in the open area anymore, but we weren't where they were being crushed. So we got really lucky that we were not crushed, which I'm happy for. I'm claustrophobic, and I had a nice little ring where nobody was touching me, so that was really nice. But we were still all packed in together.
And the line had split up at the front at that point, too.
We couldn't get out. We couldn't move forward. We couldn't move to the side. We couldn't move back. I had a ring, but, like, when I say ring, people were, like, this far from me. They just weren't touching me yet. And so we waited in that for a very long time. And I remember at one point Kane checking the time and going, "I wonder what time they're going to start the panel." And I said, "Oh, what time is it?" And he goes, "Oh, 1:30.
Mind you, we also saw CG5 got to walk right to the front of the line.
Yeah, so when they crushed the line, they actually split it into 2. And I saw a lot of, like, very popular TikTokers in the Dream SMP fandom, a couple streamers, some other people. They got picked out of our line and put in that second line. No hate to them. Please don't hate on anybody. This isn't hate to them. This is entirely on staff.
I'm just glad that they got to go get
CG5 came down. He got put in that group. There was a couple people from the, like, beginning of the line that got put in that group. And then that group went inside, and there was a second rush. And we were still in the line, and, like, people were cheering, and I remember just thinking, like, oh my god, if we have another stampede, because it was like a little mini one before people stopped, and I was like, if we have another one, we're all gonna fall over
because
there's nowhere for us to go. And there was like this dude next to me, and he was kind of like inching forward and trying to like pull. I think he had his like daughter with him. Like he was an older dude. Yeah. He was trying to pull her to the outside of the line. And I just remember thinking, like, oh my god, we're going to get crushed if they do the stampede again. I hope that they move slowly when they let us in.
Because they were hyping up everyone up with, like, cheering, and people were getting aggravated. They would not stop cheering. They cheered, like, at least 4 times. And that, like, for me, because I don't like loud noises that much at all, it was stressing me out. Because I'm like, if they keep cheering, something's going to happen. We're going to rush. Because people were being impatient.
So then everything quieted down, and we were standing there. And that second line was gone. And I remember looking at Kane, and like we were talking to the people around us. There was a really cool Mamza and Phil cosplayer next to us, and they had like a techno with them and stuff. Like their costumes were incredible.
We also met a mom who had the purple ribbons.
Oh gosh, what was her name? Strawberry?
I think her name was Strawberry.
I don't know. She was somebody who apparently used to hang out in Dream's offline chat, and then she ended up starting a channel of her own, and she gives out like mom bites and stuff. She gave us a little pin. She was super sweet. I wish I remembered her name right now. I don't. I'll tweet it when I remember it because she was absolutely just like super nice to us.
Nice people. We'll mention them out like when we get time, but after
I don't have a lot of their ats though, unfortunately. I didn't even think to ask, but I will post the ones I did because the people we met were absolutely lovely. So we chatted, and I remember turning to Kane and going like, I'm going to laugh if they just locked us out of this panel. And if they did, I want to go back downstairs and I want to play some of the games because I want to have fun. I don't want this to be like the defining moment of the day. I want to go have fun. This is a very fun experience. I want to have fun. And like 15 or 20 minutes later, we still haven't moved. We're still standing in this line.
It's 1:45 at this point.
Yeah, it was about 1:45, 1:50-ish. We start seeing people walk from the front. I was later informed from Twitter posts of people that I knew were there that essentially what happened was staff was packing people in tighter and then just locked the doors in front of them and didn't say anything. And people were starting to panic. And so people on the outside who could leave started to leave because they were scared of another stampede or somebody falling and people getting crushed. So they started trying to break off and leave. And they were going down our line, going, they locked us out, you need to go. They locked us out, you need to go.
Another thing is, too, that hallway, because we walked there before the panel stuff, that's a dead end.
Yeah, there's a dead end. There was nowhere for us to go. So if anybody fell, we were, like, you were trapped at the beginning of the line. So people started to break away. We left. I pulled us out. The man with his daughter, they left a big enough gap that we could weasel our way out. And I was like, I laughed. I felt so rude because the people behind, like the teenagers who were all dressed up behind us, they looked so upset and I was there laughing. I was like, I called it! I knew they were gonna lock us out!
I kept bumping into a girl by accident because my back was hurting at the point. I can't stand for too long and like crowds are I can't stand in general for too long. Just because how I am. But also, like, I was wobbling at this point because of how long we've been in the line. And I kept bumping a girl, but I felt so bad because she had just been trying to vibe. And
so we weaseled our way out and we went downstairs. And yeah, it was...
The escalators broke after we left, though. That's good.
I didn't hear about that. My god.
You didn't. Okay, I didn't know this, but after we had left downstairs, like, mind you, like, I only found this out because, like, after 5... So I was following someone on stream. After 5 or so minutes, we left, actually out of the building. Escalators shut down because it was max capacity. Something broke. They could not use the escalators, and people were stuck and had to walk up the thing.
I'm so glad we made it out. So I pulled us to the escalators before big crowd because, like, there wasn't a whole bunch of people leaving yet. A lot of people still thought that we were going to be let in.
Because when people were leaving, people thought, oh, the line's being pushed forward, or oh, we get to get a chance because these people lost interest. So the line made it past the escalators on the second floor, almost wrapped around the building. That's how many people were wanting to see the panel. And so, they didn't even know yet.
So what I did was I pulled us along. Poor Kane. I was pulling Kane along as fast as I could walk, and Kane does not walk as fast as I do because
I am slow as fuck.
So I pulled them along. I got us on the escalators. We were some of the first people to go down the escalators, and I'm glad because I would have been terrified if they just shut up underneath me. But you could just hear the amount of people that were coming from behind us.
It was being really loud.
It was insane. So we went back downstairs. We kind of walked around for a little bit and then we left because there were like 3 different events going on, and it was just a lot of stuff was shut down at that point, and it just, I don't know, we were just kind of done with the whole thing. We were tired and we left. Several of the people that we met,
they didn't have a good exit either.
Several of the people that I know were there continued to post their experience afterwards. So yes, people who had box heads, including Crumb. Oh, I saw Crumb.
Yeah, we saw
when
Crumb.
we were leaving.
We saw
Sorry,
it.
off topic, looping back. I saw Crumb.
We
And I thought she was a cosplayer
that's
because she was so much tinier than I thought she was gonna be. I didn't take a picture. I didn't even think about it. I was just like, "Hey, cool cosplay!" I just kept moving. I don't even know if she heard me.
She said thanks. She said thanks, but mind you, me and Otters.
But I was still dragging Kane as long as fast as I could, trying to get ahead of.
We're not really that tall either. Crumb doesn't even reach her shoulders.
No, she's so tiny, like so much tinier than I thought. Also, Scott's so much taller than I thought. Anyways.
Everyone's taller except for Amesy.
Yeah, so anyways, apparently staff was going around and telling people who were faceless, who were using the boxes to protect their face,
you have to get out for security.
You have to take this off because we have to see your face and your tag for security purposes. If you continue to wear your box, we're going to kick you out. Which doesn't make sense to me because, first of all, half your fucking face is covered because you have to wear your mask. There's that. Our tags...
Well, I was told to remove my mask at one point to show for my
Were
ID.
you? Yeah.
That's for the badge check. They said, we gotta move your mask so I can...
they didn't make me remove my mask. They just made me show my ID.
They did for me and a few others.
Oh, okay. But apparently, like, there was this whole security issue if you had a box head. They misgendered Crumb and they misgendered Amesy at a major panel.
They must have Captain Puffy for Hannah.
Later it came out that the panel that they had put the Dream SMP panel in, the capacity was about 400 to 450 people. It could not hold more than that in that area. The room that they put it in, if you've seen pictures on Twitter, that is the size of a room that you would put cosplayers in who are doing a cosplaying panel. Or, you know, grow your own TikTok. Like the panel before them. You do not put some of your most popular partners in a room that small. I'm just kind of at a loss. Genuinely. Like, because guess what? There was a giant panel, like, room for panels next door that nothing was going on in, and they didn't think to put the panel in that room. Granted, I still don't think that would have held the amount of people coming, but still, that would have made more sense than a room that can only hold about 400 people.
They didn't even have the capacity for the content creators to even sit on their own panel.
Yeah.
Because
I did hear that was because Dream kept adding people to it.
But even then, they should have been able to prepare for.
It was not organized. He didn't have a seat.
Like, just because he was adding people, he didn't even have a seat still.
Yeah.
It's like Rumble was
Either way, I think that the panel could have been organized way better. Especially if they knew they were going to have limits. They should have had a way to be like, it is first come, first serve. This is how many, like, section off those people. Something. There should have been something to say, hey, you can't come here after we reach this limit. They didn't have that. They never told us anything. I'm blanking on the rest of the weird stuff that happened now. There was a whole bunch. So, I do know that there were spiking stories with people's drinks. I've heard a few versions of that. I don't know which one is the truest. I do know, however, that yes, there were drinks that were tampered with. I did get that confirmed. I don't know if that was on the main floor or in the partner party. I never got that confirmed. Yes, apparently people saw Call Me Carson at the con.
Never.
Yes, Saikuna did get kicked out, but that one isn't quite what people are saying it is.
It's conflicting between whether he was kicked out of the event, but also because his line apparently was too long for the meet and greet, and they're like, so, yeah, we're gonna.
From what I understand, he was supposed to have a meet and greet. He didn't end up having the meet and greet, or this was before the meet and greet. Basically, he was in a corner somewhere fans mobbed him. He talked to them because, you know, he was trying to be friendly. And the amount of fans that mobbed to him exceeded the capacity for the area that he was in. So they told them to move along, and they told him he had to leave the area, you know, to get out of there because he was bringing in that many people. I don't think he actually got kicked out of the con, but I haven't had it confirmed, and my cat is climbing all over that like a dingus.
He's probably if he's done it true, he's probably said it himself, but we don't know yet.
Yeah, so just be aware there's a lot of misinformation and rumors. I've been on TikTok a whole bunch trying to correct what I know, because there's a lot of people who weren't there who have been reading the Twitter drama and just kind of coming up with whatever, which didn't happen. So, just be aware when you're reading all the Twitter stuff. Try to listen to the people. When you see things on TikTok, try to listen to the people that say, hey, I was there. Because there's a lot of stuff that's being blown wildly out of proportion. Like, I know one of the things that was going around TikTok was at the Dream SMP panel, there were definitely stampedes and people got crushed. I'm like, no, that didn't happen. I was there. There was 2 almost stampedes. They both were stopped before anybody got hurt. Yes, people were crushed in together. Yes, staff was rude as hell. Yes, staff was disorganized. But nobody was crushed. There was a risk of it, but nobody was crushed.
If it was, we would have heard someone scream. And
we
really
were there
loud.
the whole time.
Really
nobody
loud.
was crushed. No one got injured because of a stampede. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody got injured because of how tightly the people were packed, or by the fact that it was hotter in that area because of the amount of people and because we were on a wall of fucking windows and it was very hot that day.
Because the sun was setting too at that point.
Yeah.
Never a good time.
Either way, it was one of the hottest times of the day. I would not be surprised if people got injured because of heat, because of how close they were, etc. But nobody got hurt from stampeding. Nobody got crushed. That didn't happen. I don't know. Just take people's words with a grain of salt. Double check to see who was there. Everything like that. Get multiple perspectives, because even people who were there, like, here I am talking about things that happened on the days I wasn't there. And the only reason I feel comfortable doing that is because I had it confirmed by people who were there, or I've had it confirmed by people from multiple sources who have the same story. That's why I feel comfortable talking about it. Please double check your information. Please don't blow this out of proportion, because the danger of it being blown out of proportion is that it's not going to get taken seriously. We need to band together and talk about the actual issues that happened and the actual disorganization that led to people either getting injured or discriminated against, etc. We need to focus on those and actually talk about those, because the risk of being blown out of proportion is it becomes like, oh, ha ha ha, this is compared to DashCon. No, this is a big organization that fucked up.
DashCon
they didn't organize this properly because they wanted money and they didn't care. So I don't know. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but just fact check. Please talk about it, but please fact check what you're talking about. Please don't blow it out of proportion, and don't like sensationalize it, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't know. I don't really have much else to say. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything that I missed?
Hotel incident?
Oh yeah, fuck. Okay. Con etiquette for people, please. We're gonna go over this real quick. I've only been to 2 cons, and I know fucking con etiquette. I've known con etiquette because I fucking researched it. But hey, it's not really that hard because it's basic human decency. Do not mob people in crowded areas, which it happens, and it's not the end of the world usually.
Don't take phones.
Please be aware of that. Please do not take people's phones and other
streaming with
things. Especially then, that's just rude. But the biggest thing is do not harass creators in their hotels or in their bathrooms. It has been confirmed that a lot of the community members were harassing content creators who were very large, partners and other people, very big people. They were harassing them in the bathroom by creating big mobs, following them to the bathroom, they figured out the hotel these people were staying at and started camping out in the lobbies and waiting for these people to come out. I've heard stories that they even figured out what floor they were on and were camping out in the hallways, but I haven't confirmed that. Either way, you should not be camping out in the hotel lobby of somebody who is a famous figure. Like, that's not okay. I know the security was lax. I know there was no security put in place for these people, but we as a community need to not do that shit. Please don't steal things from the creators.
The water bottle.
Like, that's not really a huge issue, but just don't do it. It's weird as fuck, and it just... Why? Like, I could see making a joke and then giving it back, but please don't steal things. They're people. Like, what the fuck?
Like, don't put them that have a pedestal. Like, come on.
Also, when you see a disabled person, you don't fucking push them out of your way. You were kind to disabled people. That is literally con etiquette. You were nice to people. There's so much more that I'm probably not going to word very well. You can look it up. Google is free. And there's a lot of people talking about it. But yeah, biggest thing, dude, don't stalk people. Like, that's what you're doing when you camp out in these hotels. You're stalking people. It is not entirely on security. That is on you. I don't know, that's my opinion.
There's a fly up there.
I just remembered, speaking of security, another thing that happened that I did have confirmed happen was apparently there was the literal Nazi, hopefully Twitch doesn't take me down for saying that, walking around con, the Twitch con. I'm smiling because I don't know what else to do with my face.
It's like a cringe smell, like,
yeah, it's a, like, I don't know what to do, what the fuck. But apparently there was somebody who was walking around with a shirt that had symbols all over it, harassing people as well. And when a person that I follow talked about this, when they went to staff and security and said, hey, this is what's happening, can we please get help, they were laughed at. So, yeah. Security was really bad, if that just puts that in perspective. I think that's everything. Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys have any questions that you want to ask? Anything you want to hear me talk about? Oh, no. Okay. Mm-hmm. Basically what happened, cool. I'm going to repeat it because apparently there was an ad. Thank you so much for letting me know there was an ad. I'm so glad that you let me know so I can know what you didn't hear. Basically there was a person with those symbols on their shirt, who was going around harassing people. And when a person I followed, that because I got this story from somebody I knew who was there, who I followed, when they went and tried to talk to security and say, hey, we need help with this, they were laughed at. So amazing, right? Gosh, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm like,
yeah,
my brain is going blank. There is so much more. Are you Jewish? Did that affect you if you are? I'm not.
But there's a lot of people who had attended who were and are, and that...
It still frustrates me greatly that somebody was allowed to walk around. Just... I'm trying to think of how to word this, sorry. I do not condone... Oh, I don't know how they could be let in if they had... Yeah, apparently their shirt was covered in it.
Sweater over it, probably. They weren't making us take off our sweaters.
No, they were just in a plain t-shirt walking around.
Oh, that's even more fucked.
I do not condone racism. I do not condone any of that bullshit on my channel or in my life. I'm trying to word this and I'm not wording this well, but basically it still frustrates me beyond belief that this person was allowed to come in. Hassanis, yeah, it frustrates me that the platform allows these people, but it frustrates me a lot and it makes me very angry at security that I see why they would let that person come in because of some of the streamers that they have on their platform and how they've handled things in the past. It still frustrates me that that person was allowed in, but I can understand why it was because of how Twitch is. That being said, it angers me that when this person was going around and harassing people and somebody reached out for help, they were laughed at and no one stopped that. No matter what you are wearing, it is not okay to go around and harass people at a con. Just not okay. Don't do it. And the fact that security did not take that seriously and laughed in someone's face over it, it makes me furious. Because that person could have hurt somebody. I don't think they did, but they could have. Twitch changed the 70-30 rule to 50-50 YouTube. I'm glad Twitch exists because I probably spent like at least half. Yeah. Yeah,
He's chasing the fly still.
He's chasing a fly and knocking everything over.
You got a fly.
I have not read enough about the 50-50 split to really have an opinion on it quite yet. I did not realize it was in effect the way it was because the email that I got about it kind of made it sound like it was only going into effect for particular people and they were testing out a feature. Yep. He morphs into the concrete. Yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do because of the split. I'm very frustrated by it. I'm very frustrated with Twitch in general. I've never really liked the site to begin with because I knew who it was owned by and it made me a little leery, but also it was the easiest and the most popular platform for me to start my channel. And I'm very grateful that I've been able to start my channel and do what I do. I love, like, I know my following is small, but I love you guys so much. Like, this has been a blast for me. I love this. I love being on here. I love streaming. And I love how easy this site makes it to do that. I love the community that I've managed to build on here. And I'm trying to look into possibly switching to another site. I don't know if I will yet or not, because I've had issues with that site before where it made it very hard for me to build a community. So I'm not making any concrete decisions right now, but that 50-50 split is definitely one of the reasons. Another thing is, if you haven't heard, along with that 50-50 split, they've been rolling ads. That the revenue does not go to the streamers. On top of that, if you are going to sub to a streamer, you want to go to the 6-month sub. I know it's more expensive. Yeah, most people watch on Twitch is the frustrating thing. It's very hard to switch to a different platform unless you're already big because of that. But if you want to sub to somebody, do not sub with tier 1. Honestly, anything below 6 months, because apparently Twitch is taking like full revenue from that, so that your Twitch streamer's not getting anything if you sub with 1 month. Twitch has also been rolling out ads that the streamers don't get any revenue from. I've had problems with that on my own channel, and I've had to change when my ads roll out, because before what I had is I'd have one ad about every hour to an hour and a half, give or take, because I used to do like hour-long streams, 1 to 2 hour long streams, so you would get like 2 ads. I don't do this for a living, but I do appreciate the extra income it gives me because I do work full-time and I have a lot going on, and that little extra bit of money helps me continue to stream. So I only had like, I don't know, an ad or 2 per stream. When I came back after a break, right after the 50-50 had been put in place, I had so many streams on my, like, ads on my stream that literally every like 30 minutes, my chat was popping up and saying, oh, ad, oh, ad. Oh, I don't know what you just said. Can you repeat that? There's an ad. And I'm like, and I didn't get any of that revenue. I got my normal schedule, and that stream is a long stream, so I got a decent amount. But I should have had more. for the amount of ads that we're playing. And that's incredibly frustrating to me as a small streamer because I make most of my money through the ads. You made my stream almost unwatchable and I didn't get any of the revenue for that. It all went to Twitch, which is a mega corporation that really frustrates me quite a bit. So I've turned my ads down. I haven't had the same issue, so I'm hoping it stays that way. But yeah, it's pretty frustrating. And it's pretty frustrating because it's very hard for small streamers to move to a new platform if they don't already have a community built up on that platform, because I have about 200 followers here. I have about 400 on Twitch, and that's about all I have. I think together that's about 600. Very small community. And let's say about 150 of those on TikTok are also following me on Twitch, so let's say about 400 to 500 people. If I switch to a different platform, there's only so many people that I can get to switch with me, because that's not the platform that they primarily use. So it's just frustrating. It's frustrating for small streamers. I'm kind of out of things to talk about. If you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and ask and I'll try to answer.
Either of us.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about? TwitchCon or other related stuff?
Don't think about anything, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, I might just see if somebody I know is live and go stream them. Stream them? Raid them? Words?
So I think he ate the fly.
I hope he ate the fly, because the amount of stuff he was knocking over, if he didn't eat the fly, I'm gonna be crying.
I know. He had caught it and then started playing with it behind you.
It looks like nobody I know is streaming right now, but you guys have any suggestions? You guys have anybody that's streaming that you know? Give it a sec. Now we could also just raid somebody small too, because I haven't done that in a while. So we're just chatting. Oh wow, they changed it. You used to be able to go like from... You used to be able to sort it so that you could find people who were low to high. Okay, maybe it's just on that category. I'm not seeing anybody. Okay, you guys. Well, I'm gonna end stream here, I think, because I don't really have anything else to talk about, and I feel like I don't want to add a game at the end of the stream because of everything we talked about that was pretty serious. So, I hope you guys had a fun time, or at least enjoyed what we were talking about. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and please remember to hydrate. Yeah, hydrate and eat if you guys haven't yet.
And stretch.
Bye! Thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you for everybody who followed.
Farewell.
Goodbye!
Bye.
Goodbye!